Another GMP Detox session. My name is Markus Römer. Today we talk about CPV, abbreviation that is very often used. And if I meet someone and they tell me we do CPV, my first question is, do you define that as the continuous process verification or the continued process verification? So the difference is lying here in continuous and continued wordings. And there's also another one, it's ongoing process verification or continuous manufacturing. So again, it often happens that it really depends on the terms and definitions that are used, how you develop them, how you understand them. And I asked here, it's AI, not, as some say, A1, artificial intelligence. And it's very interesting, this answer: continuous process verification, CPV, continued process verification, and ongoing process verification, OPV, are all related concepts in the pharmaceutical industry, but they have slightly different nuances. I would not say it's only nuances between continuous and continued process verification. Now it says, using the abbreviation, that's very funny here, CPV and CPV, both for continued and continuous process verification. CPV is an alternative approach to process validation that focuses on continuously monitoring and evaluating process performance. Dear AI, that's not entirely true what you say. Maybe you get this information out of Google and other sources. Okay. I was asking another AI, FDA continued process verification. Yes, the US FDA is using the term continued process verification. And just read it here. This is the third stage in the FDA process validation life cycle. There's a guidance to industry document for that from 2011 or something like that. So this is where it's used in the US, continued process verification. The EMA, and by the way, the ICH Q8 or Q13 are using continuous process verification. So this term is used by the EMA to describe a similar concept. No, it's not similar. It's not similar. And again, sometimes if I ask someone, they just tell me, yeah, we do CPV. And then if I ask, yes, according to the FDA or the EMA approach, what is your definition? Sometimes people don't know the difference and they cannot answer this question, which is fundamentally important to understand that, especially if we go later to ongoing process verification. That's similar to the FDA continued process verification. A lot of different terms today. Again, the US FDA, this is quite a very good guidance for industry. They describe here process validation in a staged approach in 3 different stages: process design, process qualification, and continued process verification, which is the definition: ongoing assurance as gained during routine production, that the process remains in the state of control, which you might and should use in the annual product quality review. That's a different process, but it is happening during the routine production. In Europe, if we go to Annex 15, which defines different options for process validation, the one they call that the traditional process validation. That's a traditional approach with a number of batches and so on. But with the entire initiative of ICH from Q7 today until Q13, we talk about the continuous process verification, which is not part of the traditional process validation, saying for products developed by a quality by design approach. we don't have the time today to go into detail in the quality by design approach, but it's about critical process parameters, critical quality attributes, and having a design space and a control strategy, which you will verify during the validation. So continuous and continued process verification are not only slightly different, they have a totally different approach. In Europe, we also very often what we do apply is the hybrid approach, a mixture of both of them, and very important, the ongoing process verification. So we cannot do it like here, the AI is a CPV and CPV, it's different. You find that also in the ICH Q8 document, that's the Q8 continuous process verification. So the EMA is more aligned to the ICH concept, saying the continuous process verification, an alternative approach to process validation. In the US FDA staged approach, it's not saying it's an alternative approach to a traditional or a hybrid approach. That's how process validation should be designed always, all the time. Annex 15 is giving you different options how to do the process validation as a hybrid approach, a traditional approach, or as a continuous process verification. Saying that, here you see also Q8, I don't know, it's written since, I don't know, 2008 or something like that. The design space, PAT, and so on, you will find all that in here, and the critical process parameters and quality attributes and the quality target product profile. In Europe, they also have written a guideline on process validation. A guideline is non-binding, but it's like very similar to a guidance for industry in the US. There are some quite very interesting highlights. It's the same sort like in Annex 15, traditional, continuous, hybrid, and the design space verification. And I like this sentence: process validation should not be viewed as a one-off event. Very simple. That's the reason why we talk about the ongoing process verification during routine production, which would be the continued process verification in the US, which is not similar with the EMA continuous process validation. For a native speaker, for a non-native speaker, not too easy. Okay, continuous process verification. Manufacturing process performance is continuously monitored and evaluated according to ICH Q8. You find here the reference to critical quality attributes and the critical process parameters. Again, we don't go into detail into that today, but here you also see the new, basically new ICH Q13 on continuous manufacturing, also with the chapter process validation. You see that very similar again for continuous manufacturing. I think the trend is going to having continuous process verifications with that, and a very good setup of ongoing process verification. Okay. A little recommendation is also visit the ICH website. There's a training library, and especially for Q13, there are very good training materials done in 12 modules. And if you click on that, you will see a clip, a video showing you a lot of cool examples, case studies, how to do this model development, setting alarms, like here, for example, that you say we have an ongoing process verification, and however you did the validation itself. I also find a very good presentation by the Australian government, Department of Health, TGA. Well done. Oh, by the way, you had elections last weekend or so. Quite very good. Okay, so here again, they were presenting the new Annex 15 some years ago, but it's still valid. continuous process verification normally applies to product development by the QBD approach. You need to have a control strategy, maybe used for hybrid approaches also. So they have also here some commenting to that. I guess within an internal training or something like this to other field inspectors, I guess. So CPV may be applied to products validated by the traditional approach also. Here it's about the ongoing process validation. Again, I think that's similar to stage 3 of the US FDA. Again, a lot of very similar terms today, the continued process verification. OPV applies to all validated processes. So it doesn't matter, according to the EMA validation guideline, if you use the traditional one, a hybrid approach, the continuous process verification. The ongoing process verification is mandatory for all different process validation types or categories, or however you want to call it. So it's quite very interesting that they really saying you need to have a protocol or a validation plan for the ongoing process verification. Okay, so just to make it clear today, continuous process verification and continued process verification are not the same thing. It's totally different, basically, in my opinion, but in combination with the ongoing process verification, it makes perfectly sense. You can combine that, but be precise in your definitions. It happened to me that someone was telling me, yes, we do CPV, and I was asking that continuous or continued process verification. They didn't know the difference, and they were then saying, yes, is it now US or is it Europe? Okay, and finally, they were saying we do continuous process verification. And logically, my next question is, where is the design space and where's the control strategy? And they were saying we don't have that. And then say, oh, we talk about ongoing process verification. I think it's important. It's not too tricky, but you should consider that. Okay, thanks so much. That was the GMP Detox session for today. Have a great week. Bye-bye.